All right, back with another episode of Techtonica, and last we left off, we got this whole automated biobrick production setup. So now, we need to start using the biobricks and producing some copper and some iron ingots. Don't mind these stairs because I used that to take a screenshot, and I needed to get up high. I don't understand how people fly in this game. I've watched videos and people are flying around. How are they flying around? It's got to be a mod or something, right? All right, so anyways, over here, this is where we want to set up our miners. I think I have a couple miners. Let's go ahead and set those up. Wrong button. And let's see here. I want 3 miners. We want to do the exact same thing that we did over here, which is set up a fuel miner extractor kind of concept. So let's go ahead and put those down. And I'm trying to figure out... I don't know if we need like 3 or 4. You know, this looks farther out, so let's go with a farther out one. And I think I went into the wall far enough. Anyways, it says it can mine here, so let's go here. And let's get this all set up. All right, we got this all set up. It's very simple setup. It's very similar, or it's exactly the way that this limestone miners are configured, even though these are not working. But it's got 2 lines. One line is going to be for the output, and actually I don't have the other line in. Let's get rid of these because I don't need this and this. So this line is going to be for the output, and then our input, which is going to be fuel, needs to come on this line, and we need to go down to this guy right here. Perfect. And we need to have some fuel coming in. And where am I going to do that? That's the question. I probably needed those 2 lines and I just got rid of them. So let's go back to like this. Okay. We need a couple other lines, but I'd like to go down and underneath. So let's figure out how to do that. You know, thinking about it, I do have access to vertical belts. They're not unlocked, but I have an ability to make vertical belts. So why don't we go make some research and then make these vertical belts and use these vertical belts, because I think that'd be really cool. While I'm waiting for my research to complete, why don't I set this whole setup like this over here in the iron area. I'm going to need to rip down the current ones, but then let's go ahead and reset this back up again. We got our iron mining set up. I had to do something a little bit weird with... you know, the belts and stuff because of the way that the iron mine's laid out. You can see they're kind of like slightly diagonal. It's only because of the way that this iron deposit is, it's kind of at a curve. So there, you know, this is the original setup. And then we kind of had to make little S curves with the belts and stuff to get all the fuel into the appropriate places. But I think it'll work just fine. I did get all that research complete. Let's go ahead and put that research onto our research stack so that we can unlock the vertical belts. And we'll drop these research off. And there they go. Go ahead and unlock this vertical belts. And figure out how to use these vertical belts.
Task inbound. Vertical belts. Swap variant of existing conveyor belt technology to access and build vertically oriented conveyor belts.
Okay, seems easy enough. So if I have a conveyor belt down and I change the variant. Okay, there we go. Vertical belt down. So if I go from... all right, with a little bit of trial and error, I think I figured this out. So you can lay down this vertical belt and then you can actually rotate where the input comes in from. You can have the top of the part of the vertical belt rotate, and same with the bottom of the vertical belt to rotate. It's a little bit easier to kind of have your belt where you think you're going to be dropping it off, going down into a little bit of chasm down there. And then the same for coming up. You rotate the input coming up and then the output coming up. It has a little belt that kind of shows you what direction the stuff is going to be coming out, which is pretty neat. So let's go ahead, and if I connect this belt up, and then connect this belt up down here, my product should go through. Good. So that's all going through really nice. And then if we watch it come back up, and I think these vertical belts, yep, they're moving at 240, which is good. It's the same as this other belt. So these guys are coming up. The long extruder should pick it up, put it onto the belt. That should put it into the miner, and the miner should start working. Right. Okay, so this is all going to go down, and this is all going to start feeding this, and now we have infinite miners going on. So now we should also start seeing ores coming out. Good. We need to do something with the ore, and I think we're going to run that ore somewhere. I don't know where, but we're going to run it somewhere. Now I did set up the iron, so let's go ahead and get fuel over to the iron area. All right, I got this set up. It turned out to be a little bit weird, but I actually had to go down into that under area under there and give myself one additional space. Let me just open this up for you so you can see what's going on here. Because I wanted to have any kind of power generation still happen, so I had to elevate this, and the only way to elevate that was to actually like put a block down. So I had one block that was sitting underneath this, and then I was able to lay the, well, here, let me show you. I had one block like this, a single block going out in a line like this, and I was able to put the conveyor lines on it, and then afterwards you're able to come in and just clean up this one line. So I have a floating conveyor line to the vertical line, which is actually working out pretty well. It comes along this whole area over here. Can I get up here far enough? Yep. It's going over, sending it over to the iron, and it's also sending it over to the copper area. So let's watch the iron. The iron is putting it in that one correctly. It doesn't look like it's putting it into the second one correctly, so we need to figure out what's going on there. I think I have the arm the wrong way. So let's fix that. Okay, that works. That's going and feeding that, and then this is just going to turn around and get backed up, which is not that big of a deal. So we have extra power sitting here. Okay, so we have irons being produced, coppers being produced. Now we need to take the iron, and we need to take the copper, and we need to bring it somewhere in here. I'm thinking if let's see, I'm trying to figure out amounts of room. So if I put it on somewhere on this line right here, so if I have my copper and iron come up right here, and then let me put down some sort of lights or something, so I can see what my target is going to be. So I need to run my underground cable like I did for the fuel line. I need to bring over the iron, and I need to bring, I need to bring over the copper, and I need to bring over the iron, and I need to have the endpoints match up right here. I'm also, you know what, I'm also going to need fuel. So what I really need is I need 3. So let's kind of plan this out here. I need one line is going to be for iron, the other line is going to be for copper, and the other line is going to be for fuel. So we're going to have something like this. Can I look on this other side over here? Let's just peek around over here. Yeah, it's okay. I think it's okay. I think I have enough room on this side and enough room on this other side to be able to do some building. For sure, to be able to do some building. So then I need some smelters. So I'll have some smelters pretty close in this area, smelting the bricks, smelting my appropriate ores into bricks, some sort of collection into a mall, and I might divert the mall and come down this direction. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. All right, let me start working on that. All right, I got all the lines put down, so let's take a look at it. So here is our fuel. We've got biobricks coming in here, or any leftover fuel coming in here that is not being used by this automated production process. And that is going into a vertical belt, which is going down, and it's being split into two directions. One is going over to the copper mine, and it's coming up in another vertical belt and going across and feeding all of these machines, which are then in turn creating copper ore. Then we have another line, which is going this way and over to the iron, way over there off into the distance, to feed the iron miners, which are producing the iron ore. Our copper line is pushed underneath and is actually running all the way over here to come up in a line right next to where our biobricks are coming out and our iron is coming out. And you can see our biobricks are teed again to feed this particular line, which is going to feed smelters. And if we look down here, our iron ore is going underneath with the vertical belt and going underneath this platform. And all of this leaves room so that we can have more turbines, right? So I have enough room in here that you can see it's right above the turbines, and we can place turbines down. Is this going to cause other problems when I put down other machines? I don't know. It's the only lines that I have, so hopefully this vertical height is not going to cause any problem at all. I don't know if anything is going to like bump up against it or something from the top down. I hope that's not the case, but we'll see. So we just need to fix all of these platforms, and we're all set to put down the smelters. Okay, here we go. All the smelters have been placed. So I just put down 4 smelters on each side. I've got a fast inserter in placing the ore into each smelter, and then a long inserter that's taking off the fuel and putting it into each smelter. And then the output's pretty simple. We just have a regular inserter that's dropping it onto a belt, which is going over to a storage, which I have 2 fast inserters putting it into the box. And it looks like it's going to be a little bit backed up, maybe. Maybe we'll catch up. I'm not too sure. I haven't run the numbers on this, so I don't know what the consumption rate or the output rate is going to be for each machine. You know, it looks like 40 per minute. I've got 4 drills, so that's 120. The belt's going to hold enough. The consumption of this is 38 per minute. Is that what it's doing? 19 per minute? It's kind of weird number there. Output's 19 per minute. So if each one of these has 40, I mean, we got enough to run these smelters forever. I think they're going to fill up these boxes pretty fast. We might need to put down more smelters. Maybe if I run the numbers again and figure out the numbers, maybe we can run a few more smelters. But for now, we're going to keep it just like this. Now, from the front of this, we're going to export out our lines of stuff. We want our copper and our iron kind of going in this direction. We'll have a couple fast inserters exporting outwards, and then we're going to need some sort of automation, and that would be our assemblers. So let's say we have an assembler that is going to go right here, and we're going to have our assembler being fed this way. Let's grab our assembler, and we can feed an assembler here, and we can also feed an assembler here. Okay, perfect. So we're going to have these do like, this is going to do all iron things. So this line is going to have iron. So we need to look at our resources or pieces that can be made with just pure iron. And we'll go through and we'll map out all of those. So we've got some that has iron and a resource. And I'm not too sure if I want to do like power floors. I probably should do power floors. maybe lights. Maybe lights is going to be not necessarily 100% automated. I'm not too sure. I mean, we need to look at some of these. But definitely like iron frames, iron components, these copper wires, copper frames, and copper components. There's 3 assemblers there. And then, let's see, silverthorn coolant. Probably going to need that. Mechanical components, that's a 2 first. So I'm going to need a line that goes, kind of takes both of those resources. And then the same with this one. This one is going to be a double. The one that has plant matter, we're going to need to figure out how to get the plant matter in there. Plant matter is going to be assembly of plant matter fiber. We have plant matter fiber. I don't know that if we're making enough plant matter fiber. There are the fans. There are, where are the mines? There's the mines right here. So we need to have that for sure automated. Probably, like I said, power floors. I don't know how many power floors I'm going to need, but probably a lot. And, okay, let's work on getting this done. Probably, also, we need to do the research course, too. So, a lot of stuff that we need to automate and get done. And, poof, Insta-Mall. And here it is. Everything that was set up that I said I needed to automatically assemble. Let me go through it for you guys. So you could see that there are 2 lines going down. These are the bars that are being produced by the smelters that are behind my character, which I showed you a little bit earlier. And then I've got all of these assemblers off to either sides of the bars. And I have the side that is using iron the most and iron components the most off to my right-hand side, and the ones that are using copper the most and copper components the most off to the left-hand side. And that was kind of an intelligent way for me to do it. You can see up in the distance there are a couple of lines going across that are, you know, passing some goods from one side to the other, and that's because while the iron side might be producing something, it also requires something from the copper side. So let's go ahead and go through this. You know, I've got my frames that are being produced here. All of these are being stuck into an individual storage, and some of these are really restrictive because I don't know right now if I'm going to need a massive amount of these or a little bit of these. But what I did notice is that when you get to the mechanical parts, which are right here, it seems like a lot of things require mechanical parts. So I have 2 assemblers making mechanical parts, and then that can be said the same for the copper wires. I have 1 here and 1 off in the distance in the back over there that are creating copper wire, because those seem to be the 2 components that are being used throughout a lot of the different recipes. Otherwise, all the other storage is highly restricted. So I've got the frames, I've got the mechanical, what is this? The mechanical iron components, sorry. And then I've got my mechanical parts. And again, iron components are restricted to 2, while mechanical parts are really, they're open. And I might open up this whole storage container just to have a backup of them. And then I'm also producing research. And research takes a couple items. It's taking the mechanical components, and it's also taking the copper wire. So you'll see copper wire coming, what is it, on the other side over here, and being used up by this. And then also the conveyor lines, which take the mechanical components, are... Oh no, that was only for the research. Sorry, I thought I had copper wire going into that as well. You see mechanical components are coming down here, like I said, being used a lot. I've got that in for my inserters. I've only got 1 stack of inserters. I don't know how many inserters I'm going to need, but I didn't think I was going to need a whole storage container of them. And then the same for the long inserters. That's automated because that's easy to automate. But for the filter inserters and the fast inserters, I'm leaving that as a manual process. And the reason is mainly because I don't know that I'm going to need a whole heck of a lot of them. So if I have 62 or 200, I think a stack of 250 or 500 would probably be enough. And then I can just make another 250 or 500, and I should be fine with that. I don't think I'm going to need that much more. So some of these aren't fully automated. Some of these are a little bit independent and a manual process. And that can be said for these, right? So I've got my water wheels, and I've got my generators, my crank generators, and then I've also got my assemblers. And all of these guys are, they're all independence. They're manual process, because I don't know that I need a whole container of them, and when I need 20 of them or 25 of them or whatever, I'll just grab 25 and make stick the items that I need in there to make another 25 of them. The tricky part of this for the copper side wasn't so much, any of the initial components, the frames, the copper components. Those are all easy. The copper wire, you can see I have doubled up again. And then the assemblers and stuff like that, or the electrical components. But when you get to these plant matter frames, I had to do a kind of a little bit of a tricky, because I've got plant matter from this process, this automated biofuel process, but it's not enough. So I had to kind of extend this out a little bit. I'm going to have to rethink this. I'm not getting enough plant matter going through the threshers to be able to really satisfy this line right here, which is the plant matter that's going over to... I keep saying plant matter, but it's not plant matter. It's the Kendallvine stems, right? That is going over to create the frames, the Kendallvine frames. Oh, no, it's plant matter fiber. Sorry. I keep saying plant matter fiber because it is plant matter fiber. I don't know why I'm getting the names wrong. Anyways, plant matter fiber, and then that is turning into the plant matter frames. And the plant matter frames are then in turn being used by these processor units. So you need the frames, and then you need the electrical components to make the processor units. So that was a little bit of a trick, and I don't think I have enough going on. There has to be another way to make more plant matter fiber. I'm either going to extend this out so that I have enough Kendallvine coming out of this machine, or these incubators or whatever they are, to be able to feed the machines as fast as they can. But I think honestly, this one's not running as fast as it can be running. I think I've got it pretty much maxed out for as much as humanly possible. They all seem to be running, even though they don't have like a backup. This one has a backup, so it's not going to stop, whereas these ones will maybe pause before they get enough to start up again. So anyways, yeah, you can see this one's stalled, right? And these two guys are kind of stalled because they don't have enough coming through it. We can fix that, right? So that was the only trick to this whole assembly thing, this little mall that I have going on here. Everything is just going to continue to keep building. I don't, for right now, I don't have the need to have so many things being built. I think that'll change over time after I start exploring these other areas, maybe unlocking new recipes. I'm going to find that, okay, I'm going to need more of this or more of that. So this configuration is probably going to change, most likely will change, and turn into something different. I did notice that I had a backup of the Kendallvine extract. So I want to putting off some off-flow storage, and these are still, maxed out at limestone. And this one is not maxed out at limestone, but that's okay. I did notice that I had this limestone really isn't needed because I'm producing enough limestone from the Kendallvine extract to be able to run everything that I need to run. It looks like it's slowing down now, which is fine, because I do, in some of these machines, have an additional bit of limestone. I think they're all starting to clear out except for this one. This one still has a massive amount of limestone. But other than that, everything else is getting kind of cleared out. So it's really nice that I'm storing off this extra Kendallvine extract, because that's actually going to be used in several other things. Matter of fact, let me just store this extra Kendallvine extract I have. So that's it. That's my setup so far. I think I am in good enough shape right now to start exploring again. So I've got these 3 beacons that I need to go to and check out. I've also have these tasks up on top, which is to unlock some doors and also to unlock Victor to the next level. I haven't found this next level of ore, so we're going to have to do some more ore production. But I'm sure that that is coming when I start looking at some of these beacons. At any rate, let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Would love to have you in the community. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, you can find the links in the description below, and make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you know when I go live and when I post new videos. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.